Oliver, are you ready? You want to step up to? Folks, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to convene today. If you'll please rise, we're going to have Oliver Tealgarden lead us in the pledge and the invocation, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
I know. Where is it? I'm looking. It's like it's not there.
Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, and may your grace cover this meeting. We pray that all voices will be heard, and this will be a safe place for people to express their opinions. Please help guide our community leaders in the decisions they make. Amen. So some updates with the Scouts. We're helping out with the 5K, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, first thing on the agenda is the police department, chief. You think you're going to make some presentations, so you've got it.
Probably. Now that I got the claps, I'm done. Y'all can go. All right. So I got just a couple of words tonight to present for our police department. The first one that I want to present is a certificate of achievement. Unfortunately, this officer is not able to be here tonight. She has a previous obligation with emergency medical technician school. Fortunately, they wouldn't let her get out of taking her test. So, I don't know about that. So this is a certificate of achievement to Officer Erin Gaines Myers for the attainment of her basic peace officer license. So I would like to call her spouse to come accept the award on her behalf. Okay. The second is another certificate of achievement. This is the same as certificate of achievement, of course, to just a different person. This officer came on board a couple of years ago and had some previous medical experience. He's been a true frontline officer and is one of our most productive officers. Okay, so I got two of these in a sense. It's awarded to the same person. This one is a little bit more fancier than mine, so we'll go with this one right here. So this next officer that I want to recognize for his achievement, I have a proclamation in my hand, and I won't read the entire proclamation because of short time right here. But basically, the proclamation says, "Be it proclaimed on this day, the 8th day of April, 2025, Eric Vasquez has attained his Master Peace Officer license from the state of Texas." So this is a proclamation for him. Come on up, Eric. As well as a Master Peace Officer challenge coin to go along with it for his challenge coin collection. I'll let you put that back in there. And here is your certificate from me. Or from us, you know. Yeah. Okay. All right, so every year, um, every year we have an award for Officer of the Year. a lot of evaluation goes into this, and a lot of thought goes into picking the recipient out. Our department wouldn't be without it. Sorry, our department wouldn't be what it is without every single member of our department over there putting in, 110%. And so that's what makes this award a little bit harder to pick out. So, and there can only be one recipient of this award each year. So at this time, I would like to call Lieutenant Todd Hodge to the podium. So, closure to victims of crime and bring those responsible for crime to the courts and to be held accountable for their actions. Through the dedicated work of Lieutenant Hodge, the Morgan's Point Resort Police Department has closed numerous cases. Through his effective networking and use of technology, Lieutenant Hodge has assisted surrounding agencies in gathering the evidence needed to make closures in numerous criminal offenses. Lieutenant Hodge is an outstanding law enforcement officer and a dedicated criminal investigator, which is why I'm presenting him with this award tonight. The Morgan's Point Resort Police Department hereby recognizes Lieutenant Todd Hodge as Officer of the Year in grateful recognition of loyal and dedicated service. Congratulations.
Oh.
Thank y'all.
All right, well, congratulations, folks. Thank y'all very much. Next on the agenda is, we were declaring this week to be proclamation for National Library Week. I'm going to read part of the proclamation. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. Whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. Whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme Drawn to the Library. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Dennis Green, proclaim April 6th through the 12th, 2025 as National Library Week. During this week, I encourage all residents to visit the library and explore their resources and celebrate all the ways that the library draws us together as a community. So this will be proclaimed as National Library Week. Prior to this right here, we honored our Volunteer of the Year, which was Jim Ann Durkee. She could not be here for the meeting right now, so we did this in the workshop. She's one of the ones that she works in the library. She fills in everywhere. We've got, and as I mentioned earlier in our meeting, we direly depend on our volunteers. I mean, we have volunteers all over. We thank y'all. We wouldn't be for y'all, we could not function. I mean, we're talking about library, we're talking about EDC, we're thinking about city council, parks department, talking about fire department. Desire to think you can help the community, please contact someone at contact City Hall and put your name down. I'm sure we can find a place for something that appealed to you. So other than that, I'm going to go into citizens' comments.
Can we just recognize Pam Robertson? She's here. She's the head of our library committee and has been for several years. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pam. I was looking at you when I was talking and I didn't say your name. I apologize, but thank you for your efforts. Donna, I think you're the first one on the comment section. I didn't read the disclaimer, but please keep your comments to 3 minutes and keep it clean and all that good stuff.
Keep it clean, really?
If it was anybody but you, I would have said anything.
Well, good evening to y'all, and congratulations to our fire department. We have an awesome first responders, fire and police. This city is so blessed to have these people, so let's give them a... And I would like to thank, last night we did a meet and greet, and I want to thank the council, Pat and Stephen, and Roxanne and Jimbo and Dorothy and Bruce was there, Lewis was there, Sam, all our candidates. And I want to thank you. You made it a great evening for everybody, and I think everybody had a great chance to get acquainted with you. We had good questions, we had great comments, and we had lots and lots of laughter. We had such a good time. We really did. It was a true spirit of friendliness in our city and just the spirit of city. Didn't y'all feel it? Those of you were there last night. It was just wonderful. And I just wanted to remind everybody that early voting starts April 22nd, so just in a couple of weeks, through the 29th. And it'll be up at City Hall from 7 to 4. And it excludes Saturday and Sunday. They're not going to be there. But then the election day is May the 3rd, and you can come. It'll be here in the event center from 7 to 7. So everybody get out and, you know, exercise your right to vote. Thank you. I'm sorry. Oh, so the May 3rd is not here like it usually is at City Hall. And let me ask you one more question. Since City Hall closes at 11 on Fridays, are y'all still going to be there till 4? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Camille.
7. Till 4 or 7? On election day, we will close at 4.
No, 7 to 7. Yeah.
Okay.
7 to 7 on election day.
Okay.
But on the 22nd through the 29th, it'll be 7 to 4.
Donna, just
Yes.
a quick question. Is it the 22nd, the week of the 22nd, Monday through Friday, but is it also Monday and Tuesday of the next week?
Well, it runs through the 29th, which I think it goes
like
the
2
next
weeks.
Monday and Tuesday. Yes.
Okay,
It goes like that Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. But
It
just not the weekends.
right.
And it is posted on the website under What's News, big election information, if you are confused.
We may want to put it on our city signs too. Go vote. Let's do that. Okay, thank you.
Donna, you did a good job breaking that together last night. Donna, I said you did a good job breaking that together last night. Thanks for you and Larry putting that together. And a few times did we get people in there to meet candidates if they're not already on the council. So thank you for that. Okay, next on the Denise. I know, there you are.
Denise Seibert, 114 Great West Loop, and I'm going to say ditto. And thank you all that have fought it through this past couple of years with everything that you had to learn and push through. And I'm thankful for the candidates that are going to be coming in this next session, or maybe not. But, and it was a lot of fun last night, and I'm glad the community came together more. And I hope we can continue to have fun while we're doing this hard stuff, because it's been pretty hard. So I thank you all again for everything you've done.
Don, you're available? Don LeBay? You? Don? Dan?
Hi, everybody. My name's Don Leahy, and I'm here to actually basically just ask a question before the city council. Let me give you a little bit of history. I've owned land here in the ETJ for over 30 years. I moved down from Boston. I moved to Austin, but not too long afterwards, I fell in love with Lake Belton. And so me and my wife, we bought some land out in just across the road from Morgan's Point. Morgan's Point Road, and with the idea of, retiring and eventually building a retirement home there. So anyway, to cut to the chase, I'm retired. And I'm starting a project now to build a home there it's about roughly 6 acres that I own just down off Sportsman's Club Road, which, by the way, has been changed to Fairview Avenue. But at any rate, so in coming about the project, I hired a contractor, and we've been trying to get hold of some city water, some municipal water. Now, been there a long time, so I know, there's currently 2 ETJ residents that are able to get municipal water. And so we asked the water department to come take a look at what, our plan was. And the water department came out last Monday. And they said, well, we definitely got a connection that we could make, but you'd have to be annexed. And the problem I have with that was that, well, you know, I got a neighbor diagonally across from me, Billy Richards, and I got a neighbor that's actually north of me on Bell County's Road, and they've got water. They actually have an easement that runs right the length of my property where they get their water from. And at any rate, so last Monday, my contractor got in touch with the good folks over at the water department. They came out and said that we would not be eligible. I mean, the connection's possible, but we would have to be annexed. And my question, I guess, is for the city council is, why would I have to be annexed if the two ETJ residents on the same road are able to buy water from the Morgan's Point, and I would have to be, annexed? And that's, I guess, is my question. Is as simple as that. And I know, I've gone over the ordinances, and I can see where it says that, Morgan's Point will sell water to ETJ, and it doesn't mention anything about being annexed. So if you could help me with that and figure out why we can't continue with this project to, get the water across. Now, I have talked to the Bell County engineer as well, and he has told me, there's no way you are going to be able to put another private water line like the one that exists currently down, Fairview Avenue, aka Bell County Sportsman's Club Road. But at any rate, I talked to my neighbors, Ronnie Snow, who you probably know because he's the director of the marina, and he owns the land next, right before me, and also David Hurt, who is a long time resident here at Morgan's Point, and they've agreed to give me an easement behind their properties to get into mine, so that we don't have to try and run anything down, Fairview Avenue, which Bell County wouldn't allow anyway. So if you could just, give me a reason why I have to be annexed and nobody else had to, I'd appreciate it. And that's my only question.
We are not able to discuss that with you because it's not on the agenda. This is by state law, but I can't discuss it during the meeting. If you would like, I'll give you the contact number to Dennis, our city manager, and he'll be glad to go over all that information with you after the meeting or at your convenience. But by law, we cannot discuss something that's not on the agenda during a regular meeting.
You can just reach out.
If you want to, you just reach out to Dennis, and if you like, set an appointment, y'all can meet, go over it if you like. Okay? We're not trying to be ugly, we're just trying to follow state law. Okay. Okay, next thing, Dennis? You want to go to consent agenda? Okay. We're gonna skip around here a little bit on some things, so we're going to go to the consent agenda now. And do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda, which is basically the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the March 11th meeting.
Second.
Any questions on it?
I was here and then gone and then here, not absent.
He's here because he's not all here.
Yeah, I saw that and it was like,
No, I'm just kidding.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Right along, interlocal? You want to go to public hearing? Okay, we're going to the public hearing, okay?
Mayor, City Council, this public hearing that Mayor will be opening up here in a minute is to conduct a public hearing amending the fiscal year 2025 adopted budget. The adopted budget was done in September of 2024. It became effective October 1 of 2024 through September 30th, 2025. Anytime you modify that budget, amend it in any way, there's certain provisions in the Texas Local Government Code that have to be met, one of which is to conduct a public hearing. And then, of course, the way you adopt it is the way you change it. And there's two ordinances that are speaking to two different approaches to, one is the ordinance is going to be dealing with moving it from department to department. We're talking about funding. And the other one is just to increase revenues and expenditures in multiple accounts and funds. So you'll be getting that, but the first thing in the process is to do a public hearing.
Okay, since we are in a public hearing, if you have any questions on anything that Dennis said, you're certainly welcome to ask him right now. If not, if there's no questions, I'm going to close the public hearing and move on to the next item on the agenda.
Can I make a comment on the public
Go ahead.
hearings? And I've asked this before, so I'll ask it again. They are not on the city calendar. So unless you really go into the agendas and look to see if there's a public hearing, they're not advertised anywhere on the website. I would like them at least as a minimum to be put on the public calendar. I used to do it. It's an extra 3 minutes. And with the council meeting, you just say public hearing on such and such. And looks like we have a couple of them, and one of them is P and Z's and one of them is this one. I'd really like to ask again to have them on the city
Good
calendar.
idea, yeah.
We can make that, just for the record, it was by law also advertised in the local paper. By law, we have to do that, but put it on the website. It's not a major thing. We can do that for all public hearings.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to ordinance 25.002, discuss and consider ordinance to amend fiscal year 2025 adopted budget between departments. Do I hear a motion to accept that, please? Okay, I'm sorry. We can do a staff presentation. All right, all about that. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Good evening, Mayor, Councilwomen and men. My name is Mary Tolman. I'm the Finance Director for Morgan's Point Resort. And what we have before you, and I think you have the PowerPoint sheets that we have there for you. One of the first amendments that we have is for our fire department's brush truck. We received, through the help of our chief, which is right over there, we have an amount of $111,100. Part of it comes from Texas A&M and the other one is from Bell County, and that is for our brush truck, our chassis. And that's the max amount of money that we can spend out of those two grants. There is a 10% match for that. That is from Bell County, up to $100,000 for the chassis, and up to the $11,100 is from Bell County. We also received a donation check from Our Ladies Auxiliary for equipment for our fire department. And as you can see there, there's an additional amount possible that we will have to do some budget, I call it budget changes, line item adjustments, different little terminology there, from existing funds. But I have also Chief here in case you would like to ask any questions, but there is some funds that he has that are existing in his budget that can help accommodate this purchase of the bus truck. The other item for the budget amendment that we have before you is some funding that has come before the City Council, and that was in the form of 2 grants that, again, I think Chief is, oh, he's not here, he's outside. It was for the radio and the SHIELD grants. And then there's another amount of funding that we received for some training for law enforcement for $2,340. So that is the amount. There is a possible increase difference between the funding that is budgeted for the SHIELD grants. There is about $100 difference that he's willing to use his existing funding to help pay for that. Okay, so that is for the budget amendment for increasing the funding and making that adjustment to this year's budget.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Mayor,
Now it's time to ask.
I do have one to follow up. Now, this is separate from the department, correct?
Yes, sir. It's
Would it be
additional
okay?
increased funding, revenue.
Yeah. Can we go ahead? I'm talking about the moving funds between departments.
Yes,
You got one for that as well?
yes, there's a different one. There's another page.
Okay.
I just wanted
If
to
it's
know
all
about
right with you to go ahead and let her do that one, and then you all can vote on both of them, you would have gotten both the
Do
information.
it that way, you bet.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next item that we have is another budget amendment, and that's reallocating the funding and the expenses that we have for our code enforcement department, moving all of the budget from that department under administration, because right now they do fall under administration. So we're just moving the existing funding from that department, code enforcement, over to administration. And that you have all the information as part of your backup. You have the NOGAs from each of the grants that we received that substantiate the funding for additional funding. You have the copies of the check that we got for training. And we also, what we didn't have was the copy of the check for the auxiliary, but we do have we do have that check, and it has been deposited. So if you accept these amendments, that's one option which will put us in line, and we can get resources for both our fire department and our police department. I'd appreciate it.
Mary, this is great, just so you know, like, this is incredible.
Oh.
This is what we've been wanting for 2 years, like, well done.
Well, thank you. I want you to know that I did meet with both Chief Shusey, Officer Hodge, Nadia helped, Taryn helped. It was a group effort to get everything together to make sure that everything was in line and there is a lot of work. You'll see the next part of the presentation, but really all of these extra revenue are really going to make a difference to help meet the needs of the community. So, I mean,
Everyone's doing
it's
great.
Chief Shusey and Chief Taryn. They've done a phenomenal job.
I have just a quick question on the reclassification of code enforcement. I noticed that it's only the payroll, and we did budgeted some other items for code enforcement.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to move those over too?
At this time, we had an initial meeting. That's part of my initial finance update. I met individually with every department chair, and I did meet with Officer Chusi on some of the code enforcement, but some of that funding, for right now, we're letting it stay there, and we'll bring it back because some of that does apply to his office. So once we straighten all of that out, we'll come back and make any other adjustments. But for right now, I want to give you what I know for sure needs to get moved, and you will see more.
Okay. And then the one other thing, are you going to move actuals? Because I think Jay was in the position for a while, and so are you going to retroactively restate
We're
October 1st?
It's
yes,
wha-
ma'am.
Well, no, it's whatever money's left in that account that's remaining
Yes.
is what we're moving. What's spent has already been accounted for through payroll, what have you. So
Through administration, though, it never went into
Yeah,
code enforcement.
he
Because
was,
this is the whole annual budget, the way I understand it.
Yes.
do you move what was left, or do you move the whole budget?
I moved because I understood, and we can make changes, and I can bring it back, or you can amend. What we moved was everything, because I understood all of code enforcement started under administration.
Oh.
So,
True. Okay.
so if it was all under administration, then from October 1st, we move
Because he
everything.
had already been moved.
Yes,
He's
sir.
already- Okay.
That's what I understood. But if you all want something different, we can.
We'll find, if there's any follow-up, we'll catch it on the next time around. The main thing is to get the dollars moved over to the right cost
Exactly.
center.
Yeah.
And then after that, we can take it from there.
Right, and once you see the rest, you'll understand the little dilemma that we're in. I'll explain it, but I promise I'll show you everything. I'm very transparent. You'll get the Excel spreadsheet. You'll see where all the money came in and where it's going, who, and everything. I promise.
Mary, you might answer this then coming up, but I'm just looking at I'm going back to the brush truck. So the impact, it says the impact is to the general fund, which I'll be honest with you, I don't care where the money comes from. We need the thing, and this is another great opportunity for us, for the citizens. Just so you know, we're going to be getting about $150,000 truck for pennies on the dollar. Yeah. A question I have though is, I'm not a TIPMAS deployable person, so I don't know. That's those people out there, by the way. So we're pulling from the general fund. Has our TIPMAS funds showed up anywhere yet? Are we pulling from
No,
those?
there's an account for receiving those, but this deals with the funding that we're short on the brush trucks coming from the grant contingency
Yes, sir.
fund. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and speak to it, but we have a different account that's coming out of.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But there is for some of it, we have a game plan, and you'll see everything, I promise.
Okay.
So that's for the budget amendment, for the additional funding,
Let
and
me
the
add-
revenues
Let me
for,
add one thing real quick, because you weren't here, but they were, when we adopted the budget, the grant contingency fund, the grant contingency fund was set aside for the public safety generator.
yes.
That hasn't been used yet. We haven't found that opportunity. Again, finance is trying to get those in order first before we go out hat in hand. But, so that's where that funding for that delta between what we have allocated and what we're short, we've actually, or what we need, we've got that captured under that fund. It may change again, but right now that's, I think, 22,000, 21,000.
Yeah, it was going to be 22 something.
And there's 40 in that was budgeted.
Possibly. And again, I go back to the fact that when I spoke to Chief Taryn, Right now, the quote, the maximum is 100,000 for what we received, but if the quote comes smaller, I mean, the quote, then we won't need as much money. But for right now, yes, sir, you're correct. That would be the amount not to exceed right now. But we all know with the executive orders, tariffs may go up. I mean, we just don't know. So we left that wiggle room. We met with Chief and he knows that, I mean, if we need to come back, I think there's enough buffer in there to do everything that we need. And then we have the contingency fund that the city manager says that we have access to, which is dwindling.
Dennis, are we able to move on, assuming they go past tonight, are we able to move on this
Yes,
right away?
once you approve these things here, we can go ahead and move forward with it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be up next. We'll be voting on that next.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
Anybody?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We could combine the next two items if you would like this to just cover, basically do what we just covered. One has to do with the budget and the other has to do with the increase in expenditures on the multiple account that we just talked about. If I'd like to hear a motion to accept 25002 and 25005, we can do them both at the same time if y'all like, since they are so closely related. Do I hear a motion to accept those two items?
I'll make a motion to accept 25002 and 25005 as presented.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. What is the number, the next one? Okay. Okay.
This is for.
Okay, PNC, okay. Cindy, we're gonna do the public hearing on the special use permit. You inform everybody on that right there, because I'm gonna open up the public hearing for that in just a second. Ready?
All right. Hi, my name is Katie Page. I'm the daughter and power of attorney for my father, who owns the property located at 43 Oakmont Circle. I'm here tonight to respectfully request the approval to operate my father's property as a short-term rental. In 2021, my father was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and was no longer to live independently. So we made the decision to move him into a nursing facility where I reside in Fort Worth. The purpose of this rental is to subsidize the cost and sustain my father's care, which without this income would not be possible. I believe this property will be a positive addition to the local short-term rental community, as it'll boost commerce while also supporting a longtime resident. I've put several measures in place to ensure it operates safely, quietly, and in a way that respects the neighborhood. I've hired a professional property manager who's available 24/7 to respond to any issues and ensure seamless transitions between guests. The home is up to code with smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, first aid kits. Guests will have strict house rules covering noise, trash, parking, pets, guest limits, and outdoor security cameras will help monitor compliance. In addition, the property has ample parking, it's not in an HOA, and meets all safety requirements for short-term rentals. I'm committed to being a good steward of the community and ensuring this property enhances, not disrupts the community. I appreciate your time and would be happy to answer any questions you might have. That's all I got.
Appreciate it. We'll find out here. There may be some, so keep handy.
Sure.
Hey, I'm gonna open the public hearing onto the short-term rental. Ken, do you have any suggestions on that you're part of the staff?
I'd be glad to answer any questions anybody has. We did review the material on the Planning and Zoning Committee. We found that all of the application requirements were met. We did recommend that we move it forward for City Council's consideration, and I think that's what we have in front of you right now.
Okay. Public?
I don't believe we have that.
Linda, did Linda leave? Linda might know.
It's not a tremendous amount, but it's probably less than 25, I would think.
No, we definitely, P and Z, we have rules, we have ordinance for them, and they go through P and Z, and there's quite, I bet there's 25 pages in here on everything that Katie has done to present it to P and Z, and they have approved it unanimously, actually. The only question I had was the power of attorney, and we got that tonight, so
We did.
I'm happy.
I'm happy.
Okay, any public have any additional comments? If not, I'm gonna close this public hearing now. Thank both of you. Now, council, I'm gonna go, ask for a resolution to accept OR 25003, and that would be to accept approve the, supplemental system for the property just talked about at 43 Oakmont Circle. Do I hear a motion to accept, please?
I move to accept.
Second?
Second.
There's been a motion made and a second. Is there any further comment? Anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
We were into the consent agenda already.
very thorough, yes.
Okay, council, I'm gonna have next two items I have listed. One is ILA, interlocal agreement 2501, and resolution 25012. I'm gonna ask that for a motion to table those two, and we talked about those in the workshop, and for some additional information on those. So do I hear a motion to remove those to another date?
Were we going to move those to the executive session, or were we going to table them?
My suggestion would be to table it for now until
Okay.
you have your executive session. We'll bring it back either at a special meeting near term
Okay.
for other reasons and/or through the regular session.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table those.
Second.
Second, do you have a second?
I got the second on that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? I'd put that first. We've already discussed it, so I didn't set that up there. Thank you. Motion passes. It's been tabled.
Curfew for parks. Just hit the highlights. We've already spoke of it once.
I'll go by memory. Yes, so the ordinance would be to enact a park curfew for public parks. Thank you. Enact an ordinance for public parks curfew. Establish a curfew between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. No person shall use or remain in the public park of the city for any purpose except as provided in subsection B, which subsection B is an exception that allows the person or group to apply for an exception to these hours to the city manager's office or his designee. And then the penalty established for a violation is a Class C misdemeanor that is punishable up to $500.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do I hear a motion to accept ordinance 25004? Do I hear a motion to accept that, please?
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 25004.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been a motion and a second. Now, folks, you get to vote. If there's anyone making comments, because you can vote it one way or the other. So what do y'all want to do? We've talked about this in workshop, so there was some discussion on it. So what do y'all want to do?
Well, I would like to, again, address the problem of, we haven't had a lot of information on it, and I would like just to be able to have a discussion with some numbers showing that there is in fact a problem, and this is the most logical solution for the problem, not just lock up public property, because there's a potential for some damage somewhere along the line. That's my,
Yeah, and my understanding is the Parks and Rec Committee have reviewed this and recommended this. When we selected the Parks and Rec Committee, we made a conscious decision to look at geographically where they lived so that we could have equal representation to all of our parks. My understanding is they've gone around to neighbors and people adjacent to the parks and have talked to them. Then they got together with Matt to make the ordinance and to make it legal. And so the question is that I think Matt has brought up in the past is if we, if I can quote Scott Mosier, nothing good happens after midnight in city parks. And so Matt has also said that it's a way to secure our city facilities in our parks by just not letting people have access 24/7. They would close at 11, so have fun all during the day. You can get back there at 5 o'clock in the morning if you want. And if you want to go and look at some stars in Oakmont Park, you can get an exception. And we talked about this in the workshop. Dennis would grant the exception for you to go in at 2 o'clock in the morning to do your astrophotography.
I just have a question for clarification also. On these parks, I know Oakmont, we can close the gate, but what about Ansay and Clapas? I mean, how are you going to close the parks? Just put up a sign and then you'll have to patrol them in order to make sure nobody's there?
They patrol them anyway. They do area checks all the time.
Then why are we locking them up?
Well, we can't lock up.
No, but the
parks.
point is, still, for the 97th time, I understand what you just said, what Matt said, what the others. The survey of asking them people who are around there is a good idea. It's not scientific by any stretch of the imagination. You're taking away public property on the pretext that there might be a problem, but we have not defined the problem, the severity of the problem, or the amount of the problem. We're just assuming that people will do bad things after midnight. That is a crazy way to try to legislate.
I think
Can we
discussed
not-
this the whole way, but pros and cons. Now it's up for a vote. So that's what it is.
Excuse me, Mr.
you know,
Mayor, can we not talk about having?
We've re-talked about it, and we're repeating what we already talked about. So I'm sorry, Pat, but we've talked about this already quite a bit.
And you can make a motion to table it and see if you get a second.
If you want to,
And
if you want to table
Roxanne
it,
knows
make a
the
motion.
rules.
If it passes,
I mean,
we can do that. If you want to do
All right,
that.
I will make a motion that we table this for further discussion.
Yeah, we already got one on. Got to do something with the first one.
Oh, sorry.
Can we vote on the first
Yeah.
one? First and a second.
As I said, I'm ready for a vote. Are you all ready?
So I made the first and Jimbo seconded it.
All right, are you all ready? Discussion's made. All in favor of accepting it?
Aye.
What happened to the table?
All in
But
favor?
there was already a motion on the floor. I know it's confusing.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Excuse me, after the motions and everything done, excuse us. I'll ask you here in a minute. Motion,
Can we
motion
vote? with show of hands? I didn't hear everybody, so we show of hands.
Let's show of hands for all in favor? All opposed? 3-2. Motion passes. Okay, now your question. No.
And what was the point? How can you say you're not going to, we can table it, but then you don't say we can table it?
Well, there was already a motion on the floor. There was already a motion made to accept it one way or the other. You can't have a motion with another motion open.
Well, it may be needed, but locking it up is not the only possible solution. You can always say no in a bureaucracy, because that's the easy way out. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way. That was my point.
Okay, folks, moving along. Next on the agenda is our financial director update. Mary?
Our new MVP.
I didn't know if it was going to continue a little longer or not. I'm sorry. Good evening again. I'm here for a little update, and you'll be getting this monthly. Um, our city manager is making sure he's holding my feet to the grind and to the fire to make sure that things are getting done. And I love a challenge, so obviously I'm still here. So number one on the update is the audits. Where are we right now? We're almost ready for all the bank reconciliations for 22-23 that was originally contracted out. But again, they can only finish the bank reconciliations based on the data that we provided to them. And so we got, I think, the last amount given to the vendor, the person who's helping us, like a week and a half ago. So they're finishing the last touches on the bank reconciliation. We also have some pending administrative documents that need to be taken and delivered to the auditor, and we'll be meeting with them next week. On the 23-24 bank reconciliations, it was previously the city's responsibility, from what I understood, to finish the bank reconciliations for 23-24, and those were not completed. So that is something that is being looked at right now, and we're getting that done. We also have some administrative documents that we're going to be looking for 23-24, and the meeting next week will hopefully close out at what is in 22-23, and then we'll start the process for 23-24. So that's for the audits.
Thanks for keeping those on track.
Yes. The city manager he has a whiteboard, and if you look up there, if you ever gone into his office, his whiteboard's there, and whenever he sees me, he looks at that whiteboard.
But it works.
It works. Like I told him, I feel the pressure. And so on 24-25 updates, no bank reconciliations have begun at all. None of the months for this year have been completed. That was something that was supposed to be taking place October 1 of this fiscal year. And not one month has also been completed for that. So we have not started 24-25 yet. I just got bank access last week, and I just received FundView access. I was very lucky that I had Nadia that was printing out some of the stuff for me, and I had to go through training, and it's
A lot.
we're moving. I know it may not be as fast for you as you would like it to be. I just would like to say that I'm very grateful to the staff that we currently have right now that have been helping, and the department heads have been very instrumental. I got a very good overview with them. I did meet with each department after I came on board. We spent, some of you 2 hours, some of you 4 hours, going over the budget. And what we found was that this year's current budget had expenditures from the previous years that need to get moved out. We started that review and that reconciliation, and since I did not have access, I had everything printed out with the backup in a nice little stack, and somehow that stack disappeared off my table. So we're going to have to do that all over again. So I've already talked to some of the directors, and they are aware that we're going to have to start from scratch. The good thing is it should go a lot faster because I already have access. So we're hoping to be able to bring that to you in May with all the adjustments. And again, my goal, knock on wood, and I know the city manager said, be careful what you say because they're going to hold you to the fire the way he holds me to the fire. And but my ultimate goal is, if I don't have a heart attack between now and then, is to have it ready for you all in May. And so that is our goal. So you will be getting budget adjustments for some overages that are anticipated due to expenses increases that have come up this year probably. And then the fiscal year reconciliation of expenses for the prior year to the current year is also scheduled to be hopefully I'm talking this year, okay? I'm not talking prior years. I'm just talking about so we can get a good sense because it's a moving target, as you know. And when we move expenditures back, I just want you to understand the impact is that what you think you have in revenue there if you move expenses that you thought you didn't have, what's going to happen to the amount of money or revenues that you thought you had? Okay, and so it's going to take a process. I don't want to just bring you something, and again, he holds me to the fire. He tells me every day, he points at that board, and he does, and that's okay because that's his job, right? And I understand that how important the funding is to the city and to the residents and to the community here, and I take my direction from the city manager, and he really wants these updates given to you all, and so I promise you'll get them, but I want to make sure that we give you the information, and he's made it very clear. Review it, verify it, and bring you something that's actual, that's true. And so budget amendments to recognize the anticipated revenue for the departments, especially including the fire department, and you have Chief Taryn here. He has quite a bit of projects that he undertakes that helps bring in some revenue to help the city, and so you'll be getting those, and he has a really good plan that we'll be working on and working with the city manager to approve and bring to you as well. So that's pretty much what we have, what I have for you for right now. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. You do have the revenue report and expenditure report that you're used to getting. I can just tell you it's a tree, but it's not a very reliable tree. And then you have, of course, what is today's statement, because I just ran it like at 3 o'clock this afternoon of what the balance is for the bank. That is really hot off the press. But again, I want you to realize that what you see there shows a balance that is not true and accurate. Okay, and so I'm going to keep saying that until I feel I can tell you it's true and accurate, and that is something that the city manager, Mr. Baldwin, has made it very clear, Dennis, that if we don't know, don't say we know, because you're going to hold us to that. So, any questions?
I'll just add one more thing on that, is that I think the terminology used when I first got here was cash in the bank, and that's not, it's like a checkbook. You put the money in there, but you don't know, if you don't match it for what expenditures you have, you don't know how much, that checks you've already written, you didn't really know how much you have. So this is a process, but it is so critical to get this year realigned, and then from there, move to prior years. And I think we'll eventually get everything where it should be aligned like it should. I'm confident we will. And Mary's put up a lot of work, a lot of hours, as well as other staff members, and we really appreciate everybody's work. But it's, there's no changes that will occur, whether it's by a budget amendment, obviously you'd see those, but any kind of budget adjustments, the school district uses budget changes. They use different line item adjustments terminology, but the long story short is you'll see those documents, and we'll have all the accounts just like you did on this ordinance, showing the money what account it is, how much it is, how much we're changing, and the ending fund balance. So it will be something that's very transparent, but just the $5 million in the bank sounds good because it's been pretty much consistent, but a lot of expenses were not hit, have not even been entered yet from what we're finding. We found one bill, what was it, 2022?
22, 23, there's some,
22
yeah,
fiscal year.
yeah.
So we're going back and capturing all that and making sure the bills are paid the way they're supposed to. She prioritized salary and benefits, keep the workforce, make sure they're paid, and we're not losing out there. We've had some hiccups we found that's been addressed already. But I think in the long run, it will pan out just fine. But for the next, I'd say the next 90 days, you're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to say, wow, but then we'll get a better read where we're at. And if we're not where we should be as far as the end of year, fiscal year, if you will, revenue to cover the expenses, then we'll come back to you and let you know what that is. But right now, we just don't know. We've got sneaky suspicions, but we don't have all that just yet.
And it'll impact our budget for next year.
It will. But I've also, because there's a lot of things going on in DC right now, where it's also inflation's up year over year. What's called so that's a CPI. You got their producer price index is up higher year over year, and they usually producers pass that on to the customers, if you will, the consumers. And then you've got other things that you got right now. It's not really a true indicator, but your confidence level is a little bit lower now because of all the things people have been through as far as the consumer confidence indicator. But I do think that by slowing what we're doing on the expenditure side across the board, that if we see any major adjustments that need to be made, you can't spend the same dollar twice, but if we slow it down and make sure we don't get ahead of ourselves till we know for sure, first and foremost, city must be solvent. And we will make sure that's done. But if we need to slow something down and make some adjustments, that's the time to do it before we spend those dollars. Okay.
And I know you're on that. You
Yes.
told us that at the beginning of the budget process last year.
Right, exactly. That's
I appreciate
strategic
that management
readjustments,
style.
exactly.
Right. Thank
And
you.
that's just has to be done because we don't know until we know. Yeah.
Sure.
We were talking about a single audit that needed to be done.
There is,
that
yes.
in this?
It's part of it. Well, we've got an audit engagement letter because it's a supplement to the current audit that was going to get done in '23 anyway, for the fiscal year '23. So we did get with them and they gave us the agreement, and it was one I could execute because it was already been approved. The master agreement, if you will, was already done. So it's a supplemental to that. So that's been executed. All the documents have been uploaded that we have for it. There's a few missing, but it's not something that we can recreate. I wasn't here in 2023. We don't know some of those. It's not going to be material in nature. We've got it's the supporting information and that's going to probably be needed. Policies and things like that may or may not have existed at the time. We'll still look for it. But that said, the single audit will cost additional funding. It's usually a fraction, I say a fraction, it's probably a third or less of what the cost of a full-blown audit. But you have to have the 23 financials done so you can do the single audit. So that's kind of go hand in hand. But we've got everything to the auditors on the single audit, and that's part of their work.
Yes, and again, I was like, just hearing him, I was already getting tired. It's been a lot of digging around, and again, I want to hats off to the department heads. Both chiefs have BJ. I mean, for where we are as far as things that we need to do, the department heads have kept a lot of great documentation. Both chiefs, again, and BJ. I mean, I learned a lot in those 2 hours, 3 hours, and some with Mr. Pitts, was 4 hours because multiple departments. And in a way, it was like didn't have access to everything, and I was a little frustrated in that regard. But I really got to sit and listen. And what I learned from the conversations that I had with the directors is they really do know what they're doing with their projects and where the money is. So I think the reconciliation, although we have to go back again and have those meetings because those documents are missing, I think this year the cleanup is going to be a lot easier because the plan that was set forth this year with the city manager and the directors, they have it. And so they know, like, I'm like, okay, why are you over here? Well, we shouldn't be over. So then we were like, okay, fuel, it's because they charged, certain months to this year and it should have been last year. So we know where we have to go back and go. And now we just need to go through hard copies and highlight and add, actually key punch all those numbers in for all of those expenditures so that it can bring you back something. And that's also going to take time.
Yeah, I know it's, I don't even know, I've lost all words to describe our financial function, and it's depressing is probably where I am right now.
Don't be
But,
depressed.
I
There's
really appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate your transparency,
Yes.
and that will go a long way with us. Thank you.
Yeah, we can't undo the past, but we can sure appreciate the future. Once we have confidence, that everybody has confidence in what you guys are doing, and that's great,
Well-
immeasurable.
I can tell you that, again, for me, because I'm new to the new community, and I love it here. It's just awesome. But I really do believe we have a great city manager. I'm not saying that, but I mean, we have Nadia, we have the chiefs. Everybody is vested in the community to make this the best community, and I'm lucky. It's going to take teamwork, but we can do it, and we will. We have good leadership.
You're doing a great job. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you very much. Okay, City Manager, we're going to do your
Okay.
update.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, just some quick updates. FEMA reimbursement, everything's been done. The walkthrough was completed. They actually changed leadership again that's overseeing our project. So I think this is number 5 times since we started this process. That said, there's nothing that we're aware of that we need to follow up on, that's working through its system. They said short of some change in DC, we should be seeing that here in the near term. Near term to me, be 1 to 3 months. They're telling us perhaps sooner, but let's just wait it out. We should end up getting more than we expected originally. We expected 75% of the cost. Well, TETM, Texas Emergency Management, they've actually my understanding is going to make up that other 25%. So assuming we get that, regardless, we're going to get the 75, and it looks like we're going to get 100% of what we submitted to them. Now, those are eligible things. Some things were covered by our TML insurance, so that won't be redone. It's going to be what wasn't covered and what was eligible. I mean, there's certain things you're supposed to have as a city, and that one would be like a maintenance policy, that's something that we didn't have. We had a little bit of that, I guess, at one time, but all this stuff they're looking at for the here and now, what you don't have. They want to make sure that, one, you're aware of it, and two, is it's something you need to work on. So there's some follow-ups we're working on, but the FEMA stuff looks pretty good. They did release, they didn't argue, they said they referred it to Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ, and to release the burn pit. And sure enough, we got, thanks to NIDA, she did some good work, got that release in writing. There's, now what they do, the release allows us to conduct burn regarding the storm for the next 2 months, bless you, through May 27th, I believe. Could be off on a day or so. The thing of it is, that's storm-related debris. We can not just have people drop it off. That's against TCEQ rules. We have to collect it. So we are collecting curbside. And then if you haven't seen it, BJ's been out, and we're making progress there.
They've done a great job, just so you know, and putting the map out to the public was top notch.
Yeah, I love the map, but is there a way that, and I know it's impossible probably to predict, but when we're going to get to the zones?
Well,
What
he's
zone
moving
you
pretty quick.
start with, and then,
BJ, where you at on the zones?
yeah. But I mean, like if I'm in zone 12, is it going to be May? Okay. How does,
Yeah, no, you're not.
my neighbors appreciate that. But no, I mean, like if you need to hurry up and scramble and get some trees cut down. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Okay, so just put it out there and wait for you to come.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Done?
No, I got a few more. I'm gonna go fast.
Yeah, that North Point area. Yes, that wasn't on. Right. Oh, yeah. And it's a benefit to the residents that they don't have to get it all hauled off themselves. So we really appreciate it.
I
Yeah. I think several neighbors did that with each other. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, that's a huge benefit.
Okay, folks,
All right.
Appreciate it.
manager's
So-
going to finish up here.
Okay, on the water storage tank, the fix work, we're just closing out the paperwork. A lot of key personnel on outside of the city were not available. They're back, I believe, and they're starting to wrap up the paperwork. It's just, that's all we're doing. The project's completed otherwise. TxDOT sidewalk project, we met with TxDOT. They are moving forward with the design of it. And there will be some decision-making in the future, but I'll get with you all after I've got what they're going to provide us. It deals with lighting, the style of lighting. Do we want to push that light down on the trail or further out, light pollution, things like that? We'll have that discussion later when the time comes. Investment advisor RFQ went out again, third time. Hopefully we'll get, the last one we did get would not be recommended. We couldn't recommend it to council. It wasn't, they had never done a city before, put it that way. And so we're not one to test on. Stormwater RFQs, we actually have the results back and one company surfaced to the top. We also have a general engineering RFQ. So it's basically an on-call general engineering. Says whether it's a plat or something like that, we need an engineer to look at. We can just call them up and they'll work as on call, if you will. That said, we're holding the stormwater long enough to see the general engineering RFQ, which is request for qualification, see who's the most qualified. That's coming back on the 10th, I believe. Okay, so once we get that, we'll have, that's where I want to probably come back with another meeting near term that I don't want to wait till the next month. So what, we're going to get that in, rank those, see who's the most qualified and see if they're the same company. If they are, then it's not a problem. If it's two separate ones, then we'll bring them both forward. We're about to launch a purchasing module. They being staff was involved in that today. That's so when you want to buy something, you fill out you get on the computer, you do a purchase requisition, it starts that process. It makes sure it goes in the right accounts, make sure there's funding available, et cetera, things we don't have today or have had, I don't believe. I'm not sure, historically speaking, but my understanding, we haven't had one. We will have that purchasing module that will definitely align the revenues with that expense, or that expense with with the revenues. The roadway plan, I just told you about what's going on in DC and inflation, what have you. We are slowing our roll a little bit. We do have an RFP draft that we're working on to get out for the road repairs. But again, we got to know a little bit more about the budget before we go spending the dollars, because that's $600,000. We don't want to miss the opportunity to make sure our budgets are aligned where they're supposed to be. But right now, we are moving forward with it, and we're going to try to get that out near term, and then they'll be the ones that will know how much it's going to cost. But we just don't want to pull the trigger until we know a little bit more. Another one, that's about it.
Thank you, Dennis. Just to remind everybody, we're getting ready to close here in a minute. We're going to reconvene in executive session in about 15 minutes. So I'm going to give everybody a chance to visit for a few moments or whatever, and we'll reconvene here in about 15 minutes. Also want to remind you that we have a phenomenal Easter egg hunt coming up April the 19th. This is a big deal. Donna, what time is it? You know what time? Is it 9:30 or 10? 10 o'clock.
Once this meeting's done,
Oh. But anyway,
so this meeting,
what?
the regular session will be closed. We're done with that. Get a motion to close the meeting, and we'll go back into.
And we also have the 5K run that's happening this weekend.
Let me get
And
everybody-
pick up your registration packets tomorrow here, starting at noon, if you would like to register for the run.
Okay, council, y'all like to make parting words here before we break here? Anybody say anything to the citizens? Pat? Okay? Whoa.
And thanks everybody for coming and your passion for our city. Really appreciate
Folks, there's some goodies up here, so kind of help yourself before you leave, and, okay. I need a motion to close the meeting we're at right now.
To adjourn the
Current.
council meeting so we can reconvene the work session.
Okay, and a second, and all in favor?
Yep.
Aye, it all passes.
I don't think Camille got that.
So we'll have to reconvene, when we start up, we'll have to go back into workshop.
Okay.
And when we go back to workshop, then go ahead and go into
Oh,
executive session.
we're going back to the workshop,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
'cause we got left.
Okay.
The city manager updates and the city manager update and financial updates are already done. There's nothing to change. Yeah, just.
I'm in line. No, I wanted to chat with you.
Somebody was outside the other day and they.
I wanted to make sure too. Thank you. Said funding is available.
I've heard a number.
Yeah, what the rate looks like.
I just don't know if there's a water line out there because, I don't know exactly where he's at because I'm not familiar. Well, I know where Ronnie's business is, Ronnie Snow's business. But I'm not sure if there's a water line there, and if he wants to tap into it and put a meter in and connect to it, why not? I mean, like you said, that's what I've heard, that they charge twice if you live outside TPJ, which a lot of cities do. But I'm not aware of anything that prohibits it unless there's no water line that reaches down there. That's
There
the only
was,
thing
they
I
had
don't know.
to, they had to pay whatever it costs.
Bring that on the main, on the water main itself, or
To bring it, whatever it costs. Had it to where they wanted it, and they had to pay all the costs. But that's just,
I don't know why we
time since they've ever done it.
I didn't know about it until tonight, so I don't even know what the water department is. Yeah, if we can get him the water, he will. It's not a problem.
But it's something the city council needs to approve.
There should be a, well, yeah, but there should be a, I don't know if there's a policy on that. Ordinances that requires, like some cities, ordinance says, look, if you eat outside, you must, there is, some cities will say, like Temple will say, you have to annex, they're not doing it.
Yeah.
So I've seen that, Blaine actually doesn't, we provide water by ordinance. So I don't know if that's what they do down here, I haven't looked. That's for sure.
Oh, I don't care when you get there.
There's not gonna get anything out of it anyway.
We got a guy out here, just what the median household, median household value would be. Throughout the state, then at least we fix it above that, so you're taking care of the guys, little guy, but you're not giving money away to big guys. I mean, I used it myself in Belize, but mine's not that much, but, it's 1.6 or $1.3 home. He's paying nothing, it's like, you got to be kidding me. But, so I'll find out, first I'm gonna look for the ordinance and see if there's anything there, if it's not, we'll have to bring it to council, I just don't know what they've done, because I've been surprised here before. Well, we're actually, I think on that road, we got another developer, what they're doing. Got the pressure, extending that line. I just don't know his timeline, I don't know if that's the same road, but yeah, we actually have to do some of the stuff. I couldn't, Jesse told me we had a 4-inch, that's all we do. Jesse's gone and Stevie's up there. Stevie says, no, I went out and measured 7 and a half inches. Well, we can lay on, and then we can also do parallel cuts and make it 6 inches where you want. So long story short, we're looking at doing that in turn. We're not going to paint, we got everything right there. So, other than we got to pay for piping and stuff, but, yeah, well, I'll look at the ordinance first and see what we got. How you doing, sir?
Just wanted to introduce myself again.
Yes, sir.
Want to apologize, I didn't realize the problem wasn't going to proper
That's all right,
protocol.
that's all right.
You know?
Well, what I want to do is, I want to get your property identified. I want to know, I have some questions for water to find out what kind of, how far are you off of that main road? You know, things like that. And then I'll be able to look at ordinances and see what's already there. Instead of, usually cities have that solidified by ordinance that says what we'll do, what we won't do. So I'd rather go there first and then find out where I'm at. But yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know what the answer is.
I've given your information to my contractor.
Okay, that's fine.
And so he says he's going to get in touch with
He
you.
can just reach out, they'll set him up and we'll have him, we'll figure it out. I don't know what the
He's
answer is.
got all the details.
I understand. That's not fun. It's nice meeting you though. No problem, nice meeting you.
Folks, if you'll have your seat, please, we're going to go ahead and convene an executive session, please.